Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
We thank the Most High Yahuah for bringing us out with another set apart Shabbat.
Yes, we do.
We thank Him for His goodness, kindness, and mercy that He has bestowed upon us. We thank the Most High for how He has carried us and brought us throughout the week, and how He has just, kept us, enclosed in our right mind, has given us life, health, and strength, food, clothing, and shelter. And we thank the Most High Yahuah for these things. And we thank Him for how He has protected us from all hurt, harm, and danger seen and unseen. We thank Him for how He's given us traveling mercy, how He's been with us to and fro up and down the highway, because we don't take these things for granted. And some of our brothers in here, they drive trucks, and we just thank the Most High for how He gives, His guardian Malachim charge to encamp around them and protect them while they're on the highway and byways. We thank the Most High for that, and we'd like to first start off by giving honor to our senior Moreh, the congregation of Yashra'al, Moreh Kasadabah, Yashra'al, and his Isha, Sadiqah. We thank the Most High for my Isha, Shaya. We thank the Most High for Rob Zakan, Gabari Allah, and his Isha, the family, Koti Karab. We thank the Most High for Rob Alou, our chief officer here, his Isha, Brielle. We thank the Most High for Zakan Yashra'al. We thank the Most High for Officer Zakari Yahuah. We thank the Most High for just our brother Akiam Frank. And we thank the Most High for all our lovely, beautiful women and wives, daughters. And we thank the Most High for each and every last one of you. And thank the Most High for, just bringing us out, coming together on this lovely Shabbat. And we thank the Most High for, we've been doing a series on the offering, the gift offering and sin offering. And I'm going to wrap that up today before we go into something else for next Shabbat. And we would also like to give thanks for, even though they're not here, our extended family and congregation by way of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Moreh, the Dr. Yahuah, and we just thank the Most High for our family there, and just want to just thank them for just being such loving brothers and sisters. We thank the Most High just for everything. Now, the last couple of weeks we've been doing a series on the sin offering and gift offering, and seeing the importance of those offerings, and seeing the importance of slowing down so we can gain an understanding when we're reading Torah. And our focus is, we want to get everybody to, if they haven't done so already, to begin to look at the scriptures and look at Torah from a more Hebraic perspective, and also show you how to comb through things with a fine-tooth comb. Now, when we started this lesson, I want everybody to see, when it comes to Torah, everything that was commanded of us to do, Yahusha, Mashiyach, He fulfilled these things in the physical and natural form prophetically. And so that's why we were looking at these offerings. Yes, the nation of Yashra'al was commanded to do these offerings, or make these offerings. But at the same time, these offerings were to be a lesson. Everything that He gave them was to teach them and prepare them for something that was going to take place in the future. And we see how, when we begin to look at these things, we look at the instructions for when we present the sin offering, how we can see how it was Mashiyach Yahusha that He was trying to teach us all along about what was going to take place in the role that He would fulfill on behalf of the nation of Yashra'al. When we look at the gift offering, we also see that it's something that He was trying to teach the nation of Yashra'al, something that He was preparing them for something that would take place further down the road. But you notice one thing about Israel. We never see. We always miss the time of our visitation. Out of all of this for years, I mean hundreds of years, when he presented himself, they didn't even recognize him. Everything that they were doing back then, it was to prepare them for when he came. So when we look at these things, it lets us know, going all the way back to the wilderness, when he brought us out of Mizraim and brought us into covenant with him in the wilderness. Guess what? He didn't have their heart then, and guess what? And when he came in the physical, he didn't have their heart at that time. Because had he had it, they would have seen the importance of what they were doing, and they would have recognized him when he came. So, with that being said, would it not be important for us as well to recognize the purpose of all these things? So we don't do what? Miss the time of our visitation. It's very important. It's imperative that we learn and see what he's saying within these things. Now, when we learn about the sin offering, this is just a little question and answer, a little review right quick. We learn about the sin offering and the guilt offering. What was the difference, or one major difference between the sin offering and the guilt offering? Anybody know more right now?
Sin offering is unintentional. The sin offering is unintentional.
Well, they both were. But there was something, yeah, but that's the start. Okay, say that again.
Restitution for the guilt offering.
Okay, restitution was required for what?
The guilt offering.
The guilt offering. Restitution was not required for what? The sin offering. Now, what do we mean by restitution? Okay, then, the brother says restoring. Do we restore back to the same degree of what was destroyed, or what's required? Huh?
A fifth part more.
A fifth part more, which would break that like 20% more. So we see restitution is required for the guilt offering, but it's not required for the sin offering. And that restitution is not only restoring back that equal amount, but you have to give a fifth or 20% more. Okay, so when we give this restitution, what does that do to the relationship of the offender and the one who was offended?
It restores the relationship.
Okay, it restores the relationship, or in other words, it does what?
Brings it back into good standing.
Bring it back into good standing, or whatever. What's a better word? What's it called when the Most High, when Mashiyach, Yahusha, brings the nation of Israel back into good standing with him?
Covenant relationship.
Okay, covenant relationship, but what else? Y'all know the word I'm looking for. When we read about this scripture, the nation of Yashra'al, it's about what? Reconciliation. So what that does, it reconciles or brings the two parties back into reconciliation. It restores that relationship back to the place of set apartness or where they were. Brings back into covenant relationship. So we see these things here going on with the Mashiyach, and we see the importance of what he has done for the nation of Yashra'al. Now, when we look at these offerings, we see that something was required and somebody had to partake of these offerings. Now, with the sin offering, was it necessary for the priest to take part in?
In the sin offering,
In the sin offering.
did the priest need to be there?
Right, did he need to partake in it? Because you see, with one of the offerings, it was mandatory the priest needed to be there. He had to partake in that offering. But for one, he didn't. When we go to the gift offering, it was necessary for the priest to partake in the gift offering. Now, we also look back at Abraham and Isaac when that sacrifice took place. And we discussed that it was a reason when Abraham proceeded in his obedience to sacrifice Isaac. Right at the moment when he was going to do it, what happened? Mashiyach told him what? Did he stop? And he said what? Look where? He said, look behind you. There's a what? A ram in the bush. This is all alluding to something. It could have been a lamb. It could have been anything in the bush. Why a ram? Because when we look at the guilt offering, that was something required. Most likely it was a ram. And a male ram, or the first and the first. So we're looking at something in the scripture, it's alluding to something that's going to take place in the future. That's why Moreh Kasadaba so beautifully brought out how when we read in scripture, and whenever it is understood that the part of it that you're reading about is looking behind them, it's showing you a prophetic or foreshadow of something that's going to take place in a future event. And that's why it was so descriptive in explaining how not only was there a ram in the bush, but it said the ram was caught, what, by the horns of his head in the thicket. Right. And we see that Mashiyach, he was crowned what? A crown of thorns were placed upon his head. All of this is showing you that Mashiyach, not only is he going to be the sin offering, but also he's going to be what? The guilt offering on behalf of the nation of Yashra'al. And we went over to Yeshayahu, the 50th chapter, I believe it was, or was it 53, where he so beautifully brought out these things, explaining to us the role that Mashiyach fulfilled.
53:1.
Yeah, 53:1. Yeah, 53:10 was it. Now let's go look at something else also.
Right.
Let's get Yeshayahu 52 and 15. Matter of fact, let's start at 53 and 10. Let's go back to that. Yeshayahu, Isaiah 53 and 10.
Yeshayahu 53 and 10. Yet it pleased Yahuah to bruise him. He hath put him to grief when thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin. He shall see his seed. He shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of Yahuah shall prosper in his hand. He shall see light of the travail of his soul, and shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he hath poured out his soul into death, and was numbered with the transgressors. And he bare the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors.
He made intercession for who?
The transgressors.
Okay, the transgressors. And we also know that the guilt offering is also synonymous or goes by another name as what? Y'all familiar with trespass offering? So guilt offering, trespass offering is synonymous. Now let's go look at Yeshayahu 52 and verse 15. Isaiah 52, verse 15. Isaiah 52 and 15. You get guided.
So shall he sprinkle many nations, the kings shall shut their mouths at him. For that which had not been told them shall they see, and that which they had not heard shall they consider.
So he shall sprinkle who?
Many nations.
Many nations. So now, when we go back to these offerings, why is this important? When we see the charge and commands that were laid upon the nation of Yashra'al, what was their position supposed to be in the earth?
Priests.
They're supposed to be priests. Priests to each other or priests to who?
70 nations.
To how many nations?
70.
There's 70 nations. That's very important. So when we go back to Bereshit and we go back to the table of nations, we see when we deal with the sons of Ham, Shem, and Japheth, we see that 70 nations come out of those three sons of Noah. So when it was commanded of them to make the sacrifice, a sacrifice to bulls, how many bulls did the nation of Yashra'al sacrifice? Do y'all think it's a coincidence it was 70? Why were they sacrificing on behalf of the nation? Because isn't the nations out of order because of Yashra'al being out of order? So not only were they sacrificing on behalf of their own transgression or sin, but they were the reason why the nations were out of order. Matter of fact, Yahuah said, it was that we taught the nations wickedness. He said, we taught them. So would it be right that he sacrificed on their behalf? And this is why he said he shall sprinkle many nations. And we can prove that if we go back to Yahusha or Ezekiel, starting around the 40th chapter and around about the 44th chapter, he talks about how the sacrifices are going to start back up, but they will be on behalf of who? The nations and those that are ignorant of these laws. So you notice he gathers the nation of Yashra'al, and then when the other nations latch on to Israel, before they can come into his set apart place, what did he say was going to happen? Did he not say that they won't defile his temple or his place anymore? He said not only will the nation of Yashra'al have to be circumcised in the heart and in the flesh, but also who? The nations. He said if they're going to latch hold, he said the Gentiles shall latch hold to Israel. What would they be latching hold to? It's not talking about a physical latching hold. My bad. It's not talking about a physical latching hold. They're going to latch hold or take part in what? The Torah or the covenant with the nation of Yashra'al. That's why they're latching hold. So we see when we go back to Ezekiel and start reading that, you see that he's bringing what? The nations up under Torah as well as who? Yashra'al. And this is why it's very important that we ourselves make sure we have the right doctrine going out of Israelite congregation. Because you have a lot of places where there's a teaching that the focus is on white people, that they're going to be slaves and servants. Now, wait a minute, when we get to back to Torah, does not the Most High Yahuah have laws in place on how your servant is supposed to be treated? Are we not servants? We're servants of Yahuah as well. You can go back. That's why I love the story of Joshua and Caleb so well, because when you look at that story, and I had to explain to someone one time because we got into a discussion because they heard Israelite group talk about how Mashiyach called this woman a dog. And I had to explain to them now. I said, now, what you don't understand is that's common talk amongst the nation of Yashra'al. I said, we can go back through the scriptures and see this. I said, even with Mashiyach, he said it's not meat to take what? The bread which belongs to the children, what? Cast into the dogs. I said that's very important, but you have to know from what angle that word dog is being used. Now, when we read the story of Joshua and Caleb, who was Joshua's right hand man? When we read the story of Joshua and Caleb, who was Joshua's right hand man? Caleb, all right. When we read this now, what you have to realize and understand, Caleb was not an Israelite. Y'all know that, right? Caleb was not an Israelite. But was he not right there with Joshua? Did not the Most High use him along with Joshua as well? And so when they went in and conquered the land, who went in and conquered? Who led the nation of Yashra'al in there? It was Joshua and Caleb. When the Most High established the nation of Yashra'al, did he forget about Caleb? Did he not give Caleb a land for him and his family? Why? Because he was what? Latched hold to those that carried the covenant. Now, what's the importance of this story? I told y'all one time before, what's the Hebrew word for dog? It's Caleb. That's the whole purpose of it. Even back then, he's showing you something. The strangers are going to latch hold to the nation of Yashra'al. And what happens when they fall? Now, let me tell y'all something. If the Torah applies to the nation of Yashra'al, let's say the strangers latch hold to the nation of Yashra'al. Does not the Torah apply to them as well? So when we read Torah, and Mashiyach specifically says, if you hearken to his word, the word that he has spoken to them, to obey and command, what would he do? Did he say he would bless you? And he told you what blessings he would bestow upon you? So with the strangers latching hold and being obedient to Torah, do you not think that those same blessings would not apply to them? It would apply to them as well. Did he not say when he shared his inheritance with us, being Israel? What did he say Israel was going to do? Did he say you're going to give the nation an inheritance? So it's very important that we see what's going on here. Not just for the nation of Yashra'al, but for all of the nations of mankind as well. Because remember now, even when we go back to Adam in the garden, because of Adam's transgression and the fall, it put all of mankind where? In an awkward or a bad position or out of placement with Yahuah. Because Adam was the Israelite. So that lets you know, with Adam not being an Israelite, but he's the progenitor, the father of all mankind, guess what? Because of the relationship that Mashiyach had with him first, the effects of that not only affected the nation of Yashra'al, but it affected who? Everybody. But what did the Most High decide to do to fix that? He decided that he would choose something small, which was the nation of Yashra'al, to do something great. He chose the nation of Yashra'al to use to correct a problem that had taken place, to resolve an issue that had to take place, bring about a resolution and a solution to something that had taken place. That's why it's your duty as light bearers not only to be a priest to the nation of Yashra'al, but your call, your charge is to be a light and a priest to everybody. So that's why it's very important that we understand and people understand that what's going on in these scriptures, even though these scriptures are who? They're about the nation of Yashra'al. They're written to and for the nation of Yashra'al. It's written to them because they are the vessels that he has called to do his work. And his work is to do what? To teach the other nations the righteousness of Elohim. That's what makes you special. It's because not so much because of you, because he done told you about us. He told me how filthy and nasty we were, so ain't no need to boast in that. You might get that out your mind. But it's because of him, you using us as the vessel to bring about light unto the nations. This is why he said he's going to do what? Sprinkle the nations. He gave Yashra'al a charge. You sacrifice these 70 bulls. Because all of these people are out of order because of your foolishness. Everybody with me? Hallelujah. And so that's why we don't want anyone to view us out by way of YouTube, Facebook, television, or anything to think that we are some kind of biased or racist congregation or something, because we're not that. We love all people. Anybody is welcome in the congregation of Yashra'al. But what we will do is stick to the scriptures, because it's called the Hebrew scripture. And so we teach it from a Hebraic perspective. And we want everybody to know that. But we don't pinpoint and target any race saying that they're the devil, they're going to hell and all this. No. Anybody wants to keep the Torah or follow Yahuah and his commandments, you're more than welcome to come here and do it. And I guarantee you, if you're obedient to the Torah and the teachings of Yahuah, you will not end up in hell. I don't care what color you are and what nation you're from. So, when we look at these things, always remember that the nation of Yashra'al has a responsibility that they have to fulfill. And even with Mashiyach being this sin offering and guilt offering, all of this is not just only for the nation of Yashra'al. We forget that the nation of Yashra'al is just being chosen to do a specific work. But what the nation of Yashra'al or Yahuah is using them for, it took place back in the garden. That's where the sin came about. That's where the fall took place. Adam was a representation of all the men of the earth. But because he chose the nation of Yashra'al to use them to repair something that had been broken, he has to be hard on them and punish them because they were out of line and they're out of order. Matter of fact, if you can stand, get Amos 3 and 1 for me. Because the Most High, he summed it up all right there.
Amos 3 and 1. Hear this word that Yahuah has spoken against you, O children of Yashra'al.
Hear this word that Yahuah has spoken against who?
O children of Yashra'al.
Children of Israel, children of Yashra'al.
Against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Mitzrayim or Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth.
He said, you only have I known of all the families of the earth.
Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities.
He said, therefore I will punish who?
You.
You for all your iniquities. Because you were given a charge. You were given a responsibility to be righteous and teach the nations righteousness and bring them into the righteousness of Yahuah. So therefore, you have to get dealt with. And you know, a lot of times, I find it mighty strange, and I don't even know why I'm going this way. I know it has to be grew up. I find it mighty strange that the nation of Yashra'al, when they entered into covenant with Yahuah, did he not specifically tell them what was going to befall them if they disobeyed Torah? But you know that whenever we can go read all of these things, don't we say this is how we identify that we're the nation of Yashra'al? And we read about, we're the only people as a nation that went on cargo slave ships that were carried into slavery throughout the four corners. You know all of this, but you yet fail to go back up to the 15th verse of Deuteronomy. Or the 16th. 15. Matter, we get there, bring 15 and 28, brother. I mean 28 and 15, I'm sorry. Deuteronomy 28 and 15.
Deuteronomy 28 and 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahuah.
Stop right there. And it shall come to pass, if you shall not hearken to the voice of Yahuah.
Yahuah your Elohim, to observe to do all his commandments.
To observe to do all of his commandments.
And his statutes.
And his statutes.
Which I command thee this day.
Which he commands us to do that day, when he gave it to us.
That all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
That all of these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Was he not specific? And we're not going to go through these curses, but every last one of them is there. But do you not know, with him telling us all of these things, we knew from our disobedience, we read it all the time, what was going to befall us, what was going to happen to us because of our disobedience. But y'all know we never lay the blame on ourselves. It's always the white man. It's always the slave master. It's always the Arab man. Never do we take the responsibility for our own actions. But did he not just tell us what was going to befall us if we disobey his word, his laws, his statutes, and commandments? Sometimes I think we get amnesia, a spiritual amnesia. We remember what we want to remember, and we forget what we want to forget. But all of this is because of our wickedness. And that's what the nation of Yashra'al is going to have to start learning to accept responsibility and take responsibility for our own action, what we have done, because of our disobedience. Now, let's go back over to Isaiah 53 and 6. But that's very important. Because when we see these offerings, they're not just made on just for the nation of Yashra'al alone. He's doing something for all of mankind. It's the reason why he says he's going to sprinkle the nations. Let's go to Isaiah 53 and 6.
Isaiah 53, verse 6. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way. And Yahuah have laid on him the iniquity of us all.
Stop right there, boy. Go back to the beginning. Y'all pay very close attention when he said.
All we like sheep have gone astray.
Yahusha, like the sheep, had gone astray. Read that again, Maureen.
All we.
All who?
We, Israel.
No, not Yahusha. But all we. All we, Israel had what?
All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way.
Oh, who has turned everyone to their own way? We. Y'all notice he using the pronoun we here? But think about this. It starts out talking about we, what we have done. Now, can you read the next slide, Warren?
And Yahuah have laid on him the iniquity of us all.
You see how quick it jumped from what we did? But it's talking about Yahuah has what? Laid upon what, Warren?
The iniquity of us all.
We went from we, and then we went to him. Then it say Yahuah has laid upon him the iniquity of who? Us all. Y'all see how this man talking about how we cut the food? And all our madness, and that somebody else will punish for what we did? upon him. But didn't we just read over in Amos 3:1? Didn't he say, therefore I punish you for your iniquities? You know how the punishment went from the nation of Yashra'al? And that same punishment that we should have been receiving, now he punished his very own son because of our madness and foolishness. But don't they tell you that another man can't die for another man's sin? That's what they say. But you see how Torah reproof it make anybody a lie that don't line up with Torah? It's showing you, yes, he can. He laid upon him our iniquities. Why would he lay upon him a punishment for our iniquity? Why would he be charged and found guilty because of our iniquities? You notice it says Yahuah laid this upon him. So if Yahuah laid this upon him, what has been the overall theme of this whole lesson? What am I trying to get you to see? He did nothing wrong. The Father gave, y'all hear that word I just said? He gave the thing that was the most dearest thing to him throughout ever since the beginning of time. He gave, just like when we went back to Abraham and Isaac. What was Abraham getting ready to sacrifice? His only begotten son, the thing that was the most dearest thing to him in his entire life, meant more to him than anything. And now it's showing you what Mashiyach was, what Yahuah did on behalf of the nation of Yashra'al. The very thing that meant more to him than anything, he gave it on behalf of who? Oh, not just young, wicked people. I can't say what I want to say. Don't go on TV. Wicked people. Do y'all see what he loved the nation of Yashra'al so that in order to restore or reconcile us back into covenant relationship with him, he gave his son as the trespass offering or the guilt offering. He gave his very own son. Who should have been paying restitution, y'all? We were the offenders. We were the one who had held the offense. Should not it have been us paying restitution? Y'all will find it strange that he intervened and he gave his very own son. An innocent man gonna take on all of your sin and stench and wickedness. He placed all that on his son and gave his son as restitution to repair a relationship and bring somebody back into a covenant place with him that didn't even deserve it. Not to this very day have we deserved what he did for us. If you can find somebody that will show me and tell me that we deserve what he did, I'll show you a fool. We'll never be able to pay for what he did. You'll never be able to, I don't care how much you give, you can give $72 quadrillion to the congregation. We'll be the Lord more than but it still would be enough to repay what he did. Could you imagine that? That's just like me, somebody telling me that I'm required to give my only son as an offering. He has to sacrifice his life for, let's say, the city of Decatur. And I do that, and they don't show any kind of gratitude, any kind of thing, and it's made known to them that you should be put to death. You're the one that's supposed to be paying his price. And they see and understand and know that they're supposed to be doing this. But so that they don't have to suffer, I'm going to give my baby son, my baby child, on their behalf, to pardon them of this offense. And they watch my baby get put to death on their behalf and watch the bloodshed. And after they witness this thing, they turn and walk away. They don't say thank you or we appreciate you doing this on our behalf. We promise that we'll walk better, we'll walk upright. They act like you haven't done a thing. Almost just bent over, take and kiss them behind. And tell you were the fool for killing, put them up there to be sacrificed. But that's what the nation of Yashra'al did. They told him, they said, give us the murderer. Give us the Barabbas. Yeah, y'all can have him. We don't want him. He means nothing to us. And so that's what they were saying. Anytime you know somebody that's a known murderer, and you ask for the murder to be pardoned, and all this innocent victim has done is just try to come and bring and shed light into your situation to get you back walking the right way, so you can be loved and be in the rightful place and position by Yahuah, our Elohim. But that's what they did. That's exactly what they did. They turned around and told him, kiss my behind. I ain't said that. You the fool for putting them up there. And that's what we did. But you have to see the importance of what the Father did. He placed this on his only begotten Son and gave his Son as a guilt offering or a trespass offering to bring a wicked people back into covenant relationship with him. Of course, they won't be in covenant relationship with him in wickedness. But the condition that they are in now, he's wicked. But he opened up a way or opened up a door or made a path for when it's time for them to return and come back in the right stand, there's a way. And that's the beauty and importance of all that Yahuah has done for us. And I think sometimes we fail to realize just exactly what he did. Because, we come to sing these songs that the Father gave his Son, and the Son gave his life. And we sing these things because we learned them in Sunday school when we were in the Christian church. Because y'all know we keep Sabbath, of course. But when we were in these religious institutions, we learned these songs and stuff. We sang them from a child coming up. But you never realized and examined and understood the importance of what you were singing. You never focused really on the words that came out of your mouth. I remember I used to read the scripture and I would just lay in my bed and cry. Because it was so vivid and so plain, you could just feel and see as actually what he had done for us. It was just that real. Because the word just get just that personal with me. And I tell people, do you not know that sometimes that I have fallen short, but do you not know I can talk to my brothers, I can, or Robert can, and he can give me a word, he can give me some scripture, and do you not know it'll cause me to straighten up, and I might not say something to him, but I'm thinking about what he's saying, you know what I'm saying? It does not leave me in a place of comfortable, you know what I'm trying to being comfortable.
Right.
Y'all been to school, baby, y'all help me out. It doesn't allow me even more concern about teeth. Let's say if I'm not in the right standing. Do you not know I just can't sit in this congregation with ease, knowing that I'm living one way when I'm away from this congregation? The Ruach in me does not allow me to sit up comfortably in sin. It just doesn't do that, y'all. And that's why I tell people, you can tell when you're in truth and righteousness. Because when the word is going forth, even though Yahuah isn't judging you, it's something that he put in you. You tell yourself, you know what, Yahuah, please forgive me for that. I gotta step my game up. I gotta do better than that. I gotta walk better than that. And that's what he's looking for. You know what I'm saying? But when I can come in here knowing I've been sleeping with my brother's wife, and I can come sit up there and laugh and talk like ain't nothing wrong with me. Something wrong with that. There's no way I can sleep with my brother's wife and come in here and laugh and talk in his face and sit here and hear the word, and I'm just comfortable in here. That y'all know, let me tell y'all something. You know what? This thing is real. It's real. The Ruach within me will make me get on my knees. And he'll make me correct that thing. And as bad as it will hurt me to go to my brother and tell the truth, he'll make me do it. He'll make me do it. And this is what I'm trying to show y'all. This is not no plaything right here. This is not a game. This is for real right here. And that's why I don't care what any of you all say. I lend my ear. It ain't got nothing to do with your gender. You being female, you being male. Yahuah uses anybody whom he pleases. And I take to heed and to heart what you're saying. Because you can be saving my very life. I mean, you can be saving my very life. And that's why I love what he has given us, what he has placed in me, because he allowed, didn't he say he chasing those that he loves? You better watch yourself anytime you can do anything you want, live anywhere you want, and you can come up in here and don't nothing bother you. That's a bad sign. I'll be like my grandmother, this child is backslid. He's sliding backwards. Because that's what happens. Okay, and so we see what the Father has done for the nation of Yashra'al. He paid the ransom. He gave the offering. His very own, his only begotten Son, on behalf of the nation of Yashra'al. And all of this resulted in our what? Justification. Because you can't justify yourself. It takes a Mashiyach to justify you. Now, we read all of this. We've been reading a lot in the Torah. Let's go into the brit Chadasha, the New Testament, and let's look at a few scriptures. Passages here. Let's go to Yahuah, Matthew, chapter 8, verse 16 and 17. We're going to ask my lovely Yahusha, she would read it.
Matthew 8 and
verse 16 and 17. And read it kind of loud with clarity and understanding.
Matthew 8, 16 and 17. When the even was come, they brought unto him many that were possessed with devils, and he cast out the spirits with his word, and healed all that were sick, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, Himself took our infirmities and bare our sickness.
He did what? He took our infirmities.
Took our infirmities and bare our sickness.
And he bore our sickness. And what's the importance of him bearing our sickness? What does sickness allude to? Yeah, sin and death. Luke 22, verse 37. Luke. Lucas, for some of you Greeks.
Some more, that goes back then to Isaiah.
Back to Isaiah.
Yeah. Goes right back there.
Go right back to Isaiah. Luke 22, verse 37. We'll ask Aisha to get that one again, and we're going to ask Cora if she would get 1 Peter, 1 Kepha 2, verses 21 through 25. First key for 1 Peter, the 2nd chapter, verse 21 through 25. A Koti Korah. And for y'all out there in TV land that don't know, that's Rob Zakan's beautiful Yahusha.
The first one was Isaiah.
Luke.
Luke 22:37. That's Rob Zakan Jabari. Luke 22, verse 37. You ready?
For I say unto you, that this that is written must yet be accomplished in me. And he was reckoned among the transgressors, for the things concerning me have an end.
He was what? Reckoned among who? The
Transgressors.
transgressors. But all of this was written concerning him, some things that he was what? He had to fulfill. He had to complete. He was reckoned among the transgressors, being found without sin. But when we read, we just read, who placed all of these things upon him? His very own father, Yahuah. And whose transgression and sin did he place upon him? Israel. Y'all can say ours. It sounds more personal when you say ours. But he did this. Okay then. First key for 1 Peter, the 2nd chapter, verse 21 through 25.
But even hereunto we were ye called, because the Mashiyach also suffered for us.
He suffered for who?
For us.
Us.
Leaving us an example, that ye should follow his steps. Who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth.
He did what? No sin. Neither was what? Guile found in his mouth.
Who, when he was vile, read not again, and when he suffered, he fretted not, but committed himself to him that judgeth righteously. Who is his own self bare our sins in his own body on the tree, that we, being dead to sins, should live unto righteousness. For whose stripes ye were healed. For ye were as a sheep going astray, but are now returned unto the shepherd and the bishop of your souls.
Wow. Y'all know when we read about Abraham and Isaac, he was getting ready or preparing to sacrifice. Matter of fact, you can say he sacrificed his son Isaac. Because when we started this lesson, we showed what it meant to worship, and how once that ram was actually given his blood, it was equivalent because of what? Abraham's obedience. It was equivalent to him giving his own son. Because if Yahuah had not stopped him, guess what he was going to do? He was going to follow through his word. But his son was sacrificed. It's just when you looked at the ram was given in replacement of his son because of obedience. Because if Yahuah had not put the ram there, Isaac was going to get, a little bruise. He's going to be cut up. And so we see the importance of this. This is why we say, but what did you know about Isaac? You see the parallel here. How Isaac never fought against his father, or he never had any kind of pushback or resistance. He was going to follow right through with what his father was planning to do. And this is a grown man we're talking about. Because remember, we discussed that, Isaac was between 30 and 40 years old when it took place. But in your King James, it has the lad, but we know that's not true. He was not a lad, he was a grown man. I can't say what I want to say because we're on TV. He was a grown man. So you see, but he never had any pushback, any resistance, or any kickback. And what did we just read about Mashiyach and Koti?
That he was our example.
And what did it say before that?
It says said on the last one. For ye were as sheep gone astray,
Up before that.
who his own self bare our sins, and his own body on the tree, that we being dead to sins should live unto righteousness, by whose stripes ye were healed.
Okay, it was a little further up than that, but
That he suffered for us, but even unto
move on that.
that one is 21.
What verse was that?
That was 1 Peter 2 and 21. For even unto we are ye called, because Mashiyach also suffered for us, leaving us an example that we should follow his steps. 22. Who did no sin, neither were guile found in his mouth. 23. Who, when he was riled not again, when he suffered, he threatened not, but committed himself.
See, that's what I'm getting at right there. You said that won't resist the kickbacks from Mashiyach. That's what I'm showing the parallel what took with Abraham and Isaac. It was alluded to this here that was going to take place. You see everything happening the same. His only begotten son, calling it the ram in the bush, calling it by the head, the horn of the head in the figure. Mashiyach crown of thorns on his head. You see no resistance from Mashiyach. There was no resistance from Isaac. Scripture says he opened out his mouth. He never said a word. Y'all can see how he's our trespass or guilt offering? Okay, then. Did you finish, Cody? Okay, thank you. Okay, then let's go to 1 Peter or 1 Kepha, chapter 1, verse 2. Akoti Shema.
Chapter 1, verse 2. Elect according to the foreknowledge of Yahuah thy Father, through sanctification of the Spirit, unto obedience and sprinkling of the blood of Yahusha. Grace unto you and peace be multiplied.
Okay, sprinkling of the blood of who? Yahusha. Did we talk about that sprinkling earlier? That he was going to sprinkle what? Many nations? Because when we go back to it, like I said, we go back to the beginning, we know there's something twofold going here. Not only is he restoring the nation of Yashra'al back to a covenant place, but also he's restoring mankind back to a covenant place. Now, a lot of people might not agree with that, but I mean, that's what he's doing. Because remember when I said one time that we think the law just was only given to the nation of Yashra'al? And when we begin to look at it, when we see the flood, and we read about the flood story, we will say that was a reason why he destroyed the earth with the flood. It was because the people were what? They were wicked people. They were not righteous. But in order for him to what? Call them wicked and to call them non-righteous or unrighteous, would not there have to be something in place to mirror them and show them what wickedness is and unrighteousness is? He came to what? All of mankind first. But because of their wickedness, he destroyed them and decided to start over with a few people. And that few people grew into a nation that he chose. And now he fixes to do something great with what? Something small. But the overall plan is to do what? To put the people he chose back in the right standing first. Once they're back in the right standing, they're in position to teach the nation righteousness. Now they can bring who? All of mankind into what? Relationship again back with the Father. Because after Mashiyach returned, what he said, you know, there won't be no such thing as what? The nation of Yashra'al anymore. He said we all, the nation of Yashra'al, we know as Yashra'al today, and the nations that latch on with it, what he said, they won't be called Israel no more. They'll be called the people of Yahuah. Everybody will be the people of Yahuah. But for at this moment and this time, that something has to be done with the people that he has placed his name upon. Okay, let's go